Privyet, как дела? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Konnichiwa. Ohayo gozaimasu. It's happening today. We're doing it. We're doing the episode that so many of you have wanted me to do, and I'm going to do it. No, we're not going to talk about Mouse. We're going to talk about probably one of my favorite comic series of all time. I got like 5 or so. Yeah. That's all. I'm not even going to say anything. Just this we're doing, okay? Released by Epic Comics, who I loved. Epic did so many wonderful, wonderful comics. Branch of Marvel. Colorized version of Otomo's magnificent work. These came out in installments. There are 39 issues in each one of these. I think it's about 64 pages. They were in the middle of this when they started the movie. So actually, this was not finished until after the movie. If you've read this, as well as seen the movie, there's some big differences towards the end. In fact, it goes on much farther in the manga than this. We're going to break this down. We're going to do one issue for this. I don't know if we're going to do 39 issues. Not that it doesn't deserve it, but I don't know if people watch, right? It's like usually it's like people watch the first and then it kind of goes, it's like issues of comics, right? It's like by the time you get down to issue 20, like 5 people are still there. So we might not do that, but this needs to be talked about. It needs to be analyzed, and you are coming aboard the freaking Otomo train. Woo-hoo. Let's do this right now. Come on. Come on, let's go, let's go.
Are you ready?
Okie dokie, boys and girls. I hope there are some girls here. It's always nice to have some females in the room to kind of give us some sanity. In fact, I do know there are some girls because I've communicated with some of them here. So you have a special place at the table. Okay. This was released in late 80s, right? When was this? 88. Hang on, is that right? Yeah. This was in 88. This was released. I did not read these until 96 or so. After college, I moved down to LA and I got a hold of these at some comic shops. Retailed for $3.50. Now much more expensive. I have all of these. It's like one of my favorite collections, part of my collection. I've thought about binding them, but I think these are just so nice, I'm not gonna destroy them. I've destroyed some really nice comics for my binding books, but I don't think I'll do that for this. Okay, let's talk about the work. There's a great documentary on YouTube. If I can find it, I'll put the link in the comments. Where the American, maybe he's British, I think he's American though, colorist went to Japan, spoke with Otomo, they worked out the coloring methods for coloring this. And they go into that. So that's really kind of cool to see how he colored it and how that works. And actually, there's some vendors at Comic-Con, if you're ever in San Diego Comic-Con, that have the original colored but the colored pages. So you could buy like the colored proof for this page, which is pretty cool because it has like, black and white overlay, and then you have like the colored colors. Which, why didn't I buy those? Why didn't I just buy one to have? Don't ask me. I should have. It was silly not to, but you make mistakes. So, yeah, there's a great video that talks about the coloring. In fact, do we have his name? The colorist? Tell me he is at some point recognized in this thing. Here we go. Da-da-da-da. Otomo's the writer, illustrator. Colorist, here we go. Steve Oliff. Steve Oliff. Yeah, it's a video about Steve Oliff's work. Pretty interesting. Michael Higgins. Anybody else we kind of... Mark Chiariello. That sounds familiar. I wonder if he works for Marvel now. That name sounds really familiar. Archie Goodwin, of course, yeah. Anyway, that would make sense being Marvel. Okay. So it starts off like a lot of manga start off. They start off usually like painted, colored stuff. So this is the story. Oh man, should I go through the story of this? Like, maybe I need to. So Akira, let's pronounce Akira is about, it's about a government program that has found children or people that have psionic abilities and is going to try to weaponize them. Akira is a boy who was the greatest, who had the kind of psychic powers, telepathy as well as telekinetic powers, and transportational and teleportation and everything. He was the greatest, he was the most powerful, and it was him that caused this devastation of Tokyo, which turned it into Neo-Tokyo, which is kind of the rebuilding of that. So it was almost like a war. It is a post-apocalyptic world. It even begins here. 1992, a new type of bomb exploded over the metropolitan area of Japan. That bomb is Akira. Okay, it was him. He created this devastation. 9 hours later, World War III began. So it ushered in this war. Okay, and the world began to rebuild. Yeah, beautiful stuff, by the way, this whole like thing. And in the animation, the anime does a great job. This is beautiful. I really like this painted kind of thing. I think the original is pretty big too. So this is 38 years after World War III, which is 2030. Okay, so 2030, so just 10 years from now. Again, some great opening painted pages, which is common, and then we start getting into the normal black and white. So originally in Japan, this was published black and white, okay? So we're gonna lose a little bit of the line work because of the darkness and the colors. We do lose a little bit, but I actually like this version because I think the colors do add something to it, and I think Steve Olaf did a great job on this. But these are harder to find. The black and white big tomes that Dark Horse releases are easy to find, and they're cheaper. And so I think it's like 6 of those volumes, those big telephone books. So if you want to do it that way, nothing's wrong with that, and you'll definitely get all of Tomo's line work, which is classic. This, it's like, here's my thought. Akira, Lone Wolf and Cub, what else? I mean, those are the two big, there's probably like 3 or 4, I'm just not blanking on, but I'm looking at Lone Wolf and Cub right now. Those are the 2 big watershed moment, creative things that really inspired. I mean, you look at things like the Netflix show Stranger Things, I mean, a lot of it is like Akira, so, you know, still to this day, this is very much a part of the culture and pop culture and things like that. And same thing with Lone Wolf and Cub. Both beautiful, which we're going to talk about Lone Wolf and Cub soon. I know I already did a part 1, but we're going to go through the gallery edition. Okay, so it follows these motorcycle gangs, not like Yakuza gangs, more like these little like teenage little ruffian gangs, and they're all in these really cool high-tech like motorcycles, and there's different little territories, and there's the clowns, and there's these guys, I don't know what these guys are called, the Rockets or the Sharks, whatever the hell, like West Side Story, and they're just kind of like tootling around, but look at what's great is there's a lot of realism in the architecture and the technology and stuff, but then we have just some really pretty fun like anime that you would say like, you know, manga style faces and simplified expressions, but very expressive, right? And that's the most important thing is it reading properly? So, you know, we read these faces, we read the emotions properly, and that's really all that matters when you're doing comics. Drafting helps, but not as critical. So they're arguing with these other team members, and so we get introduced to Kaneda. We're getting introduced to Tetsuo, And Tetsuo and Kaneda are like buddies. They're kind of like, there's a little bit of like a sibling rivalry, even though they're not siblings. Kaneda's kind of a older brother in some ways to Tetsuo. So Tetsuo, he kind of pushes it. Oh, and now here we go. Now this is very similar again to the anime. Comes down this like path right in the middle of the road, and oh my gosh, there's a kid there, and he's branded this number 26. And then look at this beautiful explosion. Just really great stuff. And we're like, what the hell just happened? Did he crash into it? He's like, where is he? He's there. Tetsuo's okay. The motorcycle blew up. The kid is okay too. Like, how'd that happen? What the hell's going on? And now the kid kind of like disappears, kind of fades out. We don't know what's going invisible or something. You see a little bit there. And then next thing you know, we have some military types that are coming in the game. And that's it. Then we move over, so it changes a little bit from the anime. Now we're at this school. This is like again, middle school, I think, maybe high school, somewhere around there, secondary. And we see kids are ruffians, are getting chewed out by the teachers. I love this. I love these drawings. Just look at how these are all just so well done. It even reminds me of like Calvin and Hobbes and some of these like comic strips where he's using maybe some tech pen, some crow quill, but just really nice lines, really good little faces here. I don't know why, I just really dig this. I like the overlapping the bodies right there and the standing, and they'll have different expressions and looking in different directions. You know, great speed lines, of course, which is kind of a classic. I mean, if this would be your first, manga, you'd really learn a lot about a lot of the kind of style that the Japanese use for their mangas. There's a little bit of fisticuffs here where the bullies are fighting them. Again, great positioning, showing the depth of the different characters, really cool. And good angles, too, and great stuff. Oh, sorry, I remembered it now. The third one, would be Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind. So, Akira, Lone Wolf and Cub, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind. You got to put Nausicaa in there, too. So, sorry for those who are, like, screaming at their mobile phones watching this, being like, you didn't say Miyazaki. You were crazy. Really like the amber kind of earth tones in these shots. It is a little dark, and this is a matted paper, which I like this matted paper. It's a nice quality. If it was glossy, it might be a little hard to see, but it might also bring this out a little bit better. Hard to tell. Sometimes the matte makes it a little muddy. But this isn't bad paper at all. This isn't like the cruddy like newsprint. Just some great, just debris and diatrus and trash and texture and stuff in this little like their little clubhouse there here. They're pill popping. Here's the bar guy, and then this chick. We're gonna learn about her. She is an agent for this underground resistance movement that are kind of taking tabs on some of these government programs, one of them being this one that's supposedly using telepathic children. So her and her friend, I think it's Ryu or something like that, they are working kind of undercover, trying to uncover some spy government stuff. And now we see the kid, this boy, 26. We don't know why he looks like an old man. He's like a ghosty looking. We don't know anything about this. We assume it has some sort of some kind of side effects to his treatments or whatever's making him superhuman. And then, just great faces, kind of very spooky too. Like, this is kind of like freaky. It's not, happy-go-lucky. And look at them, there's just shattering of glass and stuff. It's kind of cool. And this is where he sings this stuff here. This kind of like destruction of this tower, you know, and all this kind of like building, kind of construction. There's a term for this, like stuff. Good lettering too, which I'm assuming it all came in afterwards for the English translation. And then, yeah, some of this really is dark. Now I look at it again. It really is hard to see. You have to get your head right up in this to kind of look at the lines well. But being at nighttime, maybe that makes sense. We know this guy. He's kind of like the main government agent looking for number 26. We know him from the movie. They've tried to do a live action movie multiple times, and I wouldn't consider this unfilmable. I think it could be done, but it is such a respected piece of work that I would be hesitant or dubious of believing they could pull it off. And that's the issue. So they find him. Yeah. So now we're here where the government, the undercover guys, find him. They're gonna try to protect him against the police and the government agents. This was originally published, I should have mentioned, in Young Magazine, which was this 300-page biweekly. And so it started there. This wasn't his first work. He actually did a couple works before this, Domu and Fireball, which I've not read. I've been trying to get a hold of them. They're not that easy to find. So just quicker than I thought. I thought we were going to go into this more, but I don't really think we should go into this page for page. I just wanted to show this to you. We will do more of this. Again, I'm making a couple assumptions. One, you know the story. And two, perhaps you haven't seen this colored version because they're not that easily accessible as the black and white ones. They're not in print any longer. You'd have to go on eBay or something to buy them. But I really like the colored. I really like this stuff that they're doing. And some of this was computer as well. So some of these fades could be computer. It really is a masterpiece. I mean, this is one. When you go into this story, you know, and you are talking about this whole story in total, when you're looking at the whole thing, and the character arcs for Kaneda and Tetsuo, and when you meet Akira and all these things, and then you look at some of the drawings, it really is awesome. I don't know, like, the level of assistance he had, and this, you know, did he have like a whole crew of assistants? I'm sure he had at least a couple for backgrounds and such, but this is the work. This is it. This is the bad boy. This is the real deal. And thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Check out my other videos and let me know what you think of Akira. It's awesome.